So today, very, very excited to have one of my friends. I guess I could call him office mate too, because he's right next to our offices are right next to each other. Orlando, who was actually on a few months back, and I know I don't. People said I want to hear more from Orlando because he's very common sense about the business. Very, very clear what you have to do. There's no BS with Orlando. And he's very disciplined, even to the point where he sees people in the office crushing it because he's a guy that comes every day. And he wasn't coming on Fridays. And he saw all of the rest of us still there on Fridays. Now he shows up on Fridays even with his kid because he knows the value of the consistency of doing this every single day. In our office, pretty much people that come every day are 20, 25,000 all the way up to $100,000. Everybody that's coming every day. So there's something to be said for that. So Orlando's been with FFL for 4 years. At first, he didn't take it seriously, which he'll tell you. Okay, he didn't do that much in his first few years, but then something clicked, and now he's on track to hit $400,000 this year. He really wants to hit Hall of Fame. Major success recently has been inbounds, but we were talking yesterday. There has to be some thought process to how you're mixing inbounds in with other dials too. But I really appreciate you coming on, Orlando, and being who you are. And so go ahead and tell us your story because there's a lot of new people here too.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Well, yeah, thank you for having me here again. I know I was here just a few months ago, and I heavily focused on inbounds. That was the number one thing that I was focusing on. And what I want to talk about today is just some schedule information on how to work your schedule, just some lead strategy, and then just my inbound review, I guess you can say. For some of you that remember last time I was here, I said I was going to go 100% inbounds. And so I've been on 100% inbounds for about 2 months now, I would say, give or take. And I wanted to do an update on that. How's that looking? If I'm going to stick with it, if I'm not, stuff like that. So, but first, a little bit about myself for those who don't know me. My name is Orlando, like Orlando, Florida. Um, I've been with the business almost 5 years now. Like Gary mentioned, I didn't take it seriously in the first few years, um, and in the way that I wasn't trying to get to be my best self, and I was just making enough just to pay my bills, live comfortably, I guess. I think the most I made in those every year since I started was maybe like 70K, eight something around there, 75K. And then just last year, I have a 2 year old daughter now. So that's what clicked in me was having a daughter. When she was born, I just kind of started to go a little bit harder, and I realized that this opportunity it can leave you by. It can pass you by really easily if you don't grab onto it. So and I'm still kind of grabbing onto it even today. Nobody's perfect. We're human beings. We have our ups and our downs, and I don't have a good day every single day. But the difference is you just have to keep showing up, even if it doesn't look like it's working, even if you don't get to your first sale for those that are new. So that's what clicked on me. In 2025, I was able to, I wrote about, I think it was like 170, 175. And then from there, I'm just trying to be my best self from there. So yeah, that's the number one thing that clicked for me. Now I'm just trying to build a team, taking that seriously. So just a little advice for the new people out here. I know there's a lot of new people that say, I want to wait till I'm ready. I want to wait till I know everything before I start bringing people in. But honestly, the best thing, the number one mistake that I did is not start sharing this opportunity since day one. Even if you don't have everything figured out, even if you haven't even made a sale yet, do it with them. You know, they'll see your grind, you can see their grind, and doing it together can be really positive. So even if you don't feel ready, you have people that you feel like would be good for this business or they need this business. Uh, Train together, do it together, take your test together. Start a group even from the very beginning. That's the number one thing that I regret not doing. But Now in 2026, I'm focused on bringing people in and just showing them a blueprint of a copy and paste of what we're already doing. That way we could just make it easy for them from there. Now, when it comes to schedule, um, it's two ways that it can go. If you're looking to build, or if you're just new. So we always say at FFL, either you have money or you have time. If you don't have any money to start, but you have more time, you're gonna go and get some aged leads. You can get dollar leads, $2 leads. There's different places that I'll go ahead and go over that with you. But just more opportunities, more quantity over quality. So if you have time and no money, get a bunch of leads that you could afford and just start ripping the phones from there. Now, if you do have some money and you have less time, then you can invest a little bit more in the beginning. So you put your money into something a little bit more quality, just so you can get to that goal a little bit faster. So it just really depends on where you are yourself. Now, if you are looking to build a team, I actually started this strategy. I got this from Rob Kakish, which if you have a team, two before two, which really just means get two deals before 2 p.m. on that day. After 2 p.m., focus on your people. Uh, help them with contracting or help them with getting their, whatever they need help with. It should be after that for the rest of the evening. So the goal is to get two deals, two sales before 2 p.m. in a day, and then the rest of the day just focus on your team. Because at the end of the day, they still need that one-on-one, or some I have people that I can present the blueprint or how to do this, how to do that, but sometimes people still need the help. So if you're looking to build, um, just focus on taking care of yourself, taking care of your income before in the day, and then the rest of the day or the rest of the evening, you can focus on your people. That way, if you structure your schedule that way, you won't be like the mistake that I was doing was I was focusing on the people, but I'll kind of forget about myself. So I'll I'll have I'll have a no sale day, but I'll be helping agents all day, and that's good to help your agents, but you have to take care of yourself first. You have to put food on the table and make sure that you're making your money. So I took this strategy from Rob. That's how he's doing it now, which is just make sure that you get your deals before 2 p.m. in a day. And then the rest of the day, rest of the evening, focus on your team. Whatever they need, side by side selling. Uh, there's going to be a lot of times that you'll have to jump in for somebody. If they can't close a deal or whatever, if it's going sideways, you'll be right next to them and helping them get that going. So focus on yourself first, make your money, take care of yourself, and then the rest of the day just focus on your agents for sure. So, and then I wanted to just talk about lead strategy. So for leads, for new people, if you want to get started, so goatleads.com is one of my favorite places. They have a lot of age leads that you can buy up to 180 days aged, and then there's some from 45 to 180 days. You can get as leads as little as $1 all the way up to like $7, $8, $9. It just depends on what your budget is. So Goat Leads is one of my preferred places. I've had success with them in the past. I've tried their real time leads. I've tried their age leads, and um, there's times that I'll buy a pack of age or fresh leads and I won't make a sale. But then I'll go and I get a pack of age leads and then I'll end up making a sale. It really just depends what time you catch the client, what time it really just depends on that. Even if it's a perfect lead, it's just not a perfect time for them. So age leads can work there too for sure. So goat
Do you
leads,
recommend
yeah.
age leads for younger people that haven't made sales and getting more, or do you recommend a mixture, or do you recommend, you know what, when you first start, if you got the money, get newer leads? What's your recommendation for that?
If you have the money, I think it's okay to invest in the more quality leads, just because you can get to your goal a little bit faster. You can have more conversations, better opportunities. Um, somebody that doesn't have any money, they kind of have to grind it out and just dial more with less quality leads. And what I mean by less quality, it really just means either they're aged, so they're just they put in the information 3 months ago, 5 months ago, but they haven't been sold yet. So maybe it wasn't the perfect time for that client, and it happens a lot. Sometimes a lot of agents don't follow up, so then that lead ends up just being lost, and that could be your $40 lead for only $1. It's still the same intent. It's just you have to just catch them at a good time. Some clients procrastinate a lot, so you're gonna have to just catch them at a good time. I really recommend if you're going to start with something, I really recommend starting with like truckers, because truckers, you can reach them at their workplace, which is their truck. So I've made sales, a lot of my trucker sales, they were driving a truck in that moment. So when somebody wants to buy, there's really no excuse on what they're doing. Obviously you can ask them, if you can pull over, you get banking information or something, but most of them, they already know their information, and they'll pick up the phone. So truckers, you get a lot of other people in different lead types that, oh, I'm working right now, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So call me back. Truckers, they most of the time answer when they're working, when they're driving, they got a headset on, and you have a chance to talk to them for sure. So if you're looking for a type of lead to kind of start with, truckers, it can go either way. It could be a nice IUL, it can be whole life, but they have a real need, which is driving away from their family all day, every day. So they see the bigger risk that they are going through, and then you can talk about that as well with them. So trucker leads, you can get them from $1 all the way up to $9 for the aged. And the fresh leads, those could be a little bit more expensive, but they are really high intent. I've seen them as high as $79 per lead for a premium Facebook trucker lead, which is kind of pricey, but they have a really high intent, and it's just catching them at a good time on there.
She
So
asked you
goat
where
leads,
go leads have the trucker leads.
yeah, yeah. It is just I would say the biggest difference is that they're just available all day. You don't have to worry about them saying, "Oh, I'm at work, call me later." They will answer the phone while they're working, while they're driving. So that just gives you a better chance to get to them. And and at the end of the day, they have to buy because they know that they need it. It's just, are they going to buy from you? That's really the real question. I notice people just, if they like you, they're going to buy from you. And a lot of them are just waiting to find somebody that they trust and they like. And if that's you, then you'll most likely get the sale. Maybe the last person, the one that paid $70 for that lead, maybe they just didn't click. They didn't say the right things. And now that it's been about 2, 3 months, uh, people are like, okay, I think it's time to get this ready. So just that would be my advice if you want something to get started with is truckers, just so you can have more opportunity to be able to talk to them and opportunity for bigger premiums as well,
Great
for sure.
advice. Great advice.
Now, um, so I want to get to my favorite part, I would say. So inbounds review. So just a recap. So about 2 months ago, I was on here and I told everyone that I was going to go 100% inbounds, and then I was going to update you guys later and see how that went. So in the last 2 months, the most I was able to issue in a month with inbounds 100% was 30,000. I believe one of the months was like 33,000 and the other one was 30 and some change. Um, it sounds great, and I love it. I love the concept of waiting around for a phone call instead of dialing all day. So if you have money, you know, in less time, practice and get on the phones. The best way to learn is to just take the calls. I would say about by the fourth or fifth call that you get, you should know what the call is going to go like going forward. If you said something that you shouldn't have, or you're going to know after the first 3 or 4, or I would say like 4 or 5 calls, to be
Thank you.
honest. You're going to know what to say, what to do, what not to say, how to respond. So if you have some money to start, inbounds is the way to go. But do a little bit of practicing with outbound, make a couple sales, just because you want to build that skill, so you're not just paying for every call. And if you have the money and you want to do it, then that's fine. It's a great way to learn. It's just to kind of throw yourself in the water. You'll learn the most out of just taking the real call than on YouTube and training, and all that helps 100%. But getting in it and getting thrown in there and learning how to swim with these calls is the best way you're going to learn how to do this. I have an agent. His name is Esteban. His first week with inbounds, he didn't close the first four. He paid for four. He didn't give up. He kept going. On the fifth call, he got his first sale. It was a lay down. It was like a 30-minute call, like $150 a month. Not a single objection. And once he got that first sale and he saw, he's like, okay. From there, he ended up depositing like $3,000 or $4,000 in his bank account that first week. So, um, there's a lot of power in just kind of throwing yourself in there. Now, if you don't have the money to start, uh, invest in just age leads, practice, and get a sale through there. But if you're okay with investing, not wasting, but investing money into it, you will learn everything you need to know about inbounds in just the first 5 calls max, just by going through it. Because it's the same exact process with every single call. Nothing changes. They're looking for one thing, and it's the same process every single time. So with my inbounds, I was able to issue the 30K a month. So would I do it? Would I keep doing it? The answer is going to be no. And I'll tell you why. Um, it's way less persistency with final expense. This is the very first time in me doing this that I'm going final expense 100%, and I saw the difference dramatically. Uh, it's You got to understand with these people when they're older, and a lot of them push out their payments as well. That's another issue because they just don't have it, and they have to wait until they get paid. It's usually like the first and the third. So a good strategy would be focusing on inbounds about a week or two before the first and the third, just so you can get those through. Because if you start doing inbounds after the third, you're not going to get a lot of people paying their first premium up front. And when you push something out for 30 days, it's almost like a 50-50 because they haven't been charged. They lost that emotion. The emotion is gone. They see that charge and they're like, "Oh no, I don't need this." Even though they really do. But when you let that much time go by, they usually forget. They change their mind. So less persistency for me for sure. And in words of the canceling, chargebacks, and first premium not going through. I've had spouses calling me, kind of pissed off and cussing me out because they said that I was uh, taking advantage or something of the clients, even though they called in and asked for a service because they just don't remember. Some people have dementia; they won't even tell you that. It's kind of crazy. So I got to experience that right there. Um, so I would say the best way to split it would be like a 25%, 75% split, which you should focus on inbounds 25% of the time just to kind of get you going and get a couple sales. And then the rest of the time is outbound dialing or looking into like trucker leads, IUL. IUL preferred. If you can learn IUL from the beginning, that's also very good. Very, very high persistency, high premiums, and just a really good product all around for the client if they qualify. So, so I would say, so I'm not going to be doing 100% inbounds going forward. I am going to be just focusing on, like I said, a 25-75% split, just because the persistency went down. There's some negatives to it. It's a good way to start if you're going to dial them out. But if you're doing it 100%, your business could start seeing some differences for sure. Just because there's a lot of times where I can make a sale and close it in 20 minutes, but it takes me another 40 minutes just to get them to do the signature part or to receive a text. And there's a lot of deals that I've lost just because the client got frustrated just because they couldn't get their bank account information, they couldn't get their text, they couldn't get the signature going. So they just rather get frustrated and hang up the phone versus trying to get this going. So So there is, so that's kind of my experience with that. Um, but IUL, if you're new and you want something to focus on, something to learn, if you can start learning IULs from the very beginning, that can be very beneficial for sure. Just because it's one of the best products that you can offer to anybody, and the persistency is really high because it's more than just life insurance. It's you know, all that all positives with that product. And it depends on you sell it. You can sell it as a retirement plan. You can sell it as just life insurance. It has the living benefits, all the good stuff. So if you wanted something to focus on and learn, IULs is definitely the way to go. So yeah, so I won't be doing 100% inbounds. I'm going to be doing mostly ethos leads, goat leads, trucker leads, and then I'll do a couple inbounds in the morning, um, and try to get my deals that way, and then outbound dialing for sure. So let me see here. So yeah, less persistent, skill based, and then if you are going to jump on calls, just be sure to do some real sales through outbound calls, just because there is a skill that you need for inbounds. Um, Even though you learn them on there, you don't want to get on there and just miss every single call. So get a little bit of experience outbound dialing, talking with people, and then you'll be able to jump in on there for sure. Now, does anybody have any questions about anything that I've said today?
That's real. Thank you. I saw Anna Maria say that too. Thank you for being really honest with your feelings on that. Um,
Mhm.
because you're right. There's the upside of inbounds of lots of calls, okay,
Mhm.
and the upside of being able to have lots of conversations. And even
Mhm.
with your skill set, you might be able to make a lot of sales, but you're right, persistency can be an issue, and that could really hurt an agent really early on in the business. If
Mhm.
you're making a bunch of sales and 30-40% of them are falling off. And that happened when I
Mhm.
first started in the business 5 years ago. I was selling everybody and had a 42% fall off. And I had to learn really quickly how to
Mhm.
sell properly, not oversell it, mix in the types of leads I was doing. And now it's like 82%. So it's a lot better than it was,
Mhm.
82 to 84. And on IULs, it's almost 90. Okay, but I had to
Yeah.
learn that. I had to learn that. And mostly, being able to pivot of like when you talk to the person, and that's what's really cool about ethos leads and getting on a Facebook campaign is you don't know until you get into a conversation with them about which direction you're going to go. But if you know the term products, a lot of term products won't fall off because they're trying to protect their house. Okay. So learning how to do a term sale or an IUL sale, right?
Mhm.
And then if their health becomes an issue, being able to pivot down to a final expense, which still has some of the benefits, has a lesser amount of cash value, lesser amount of living benefits, it's still permanent protection. That's where I think the skill set comes in the business, you know.
Mhm.
Those that are grinding 60, 70, $80,000 in final expense right now, $100,000, a lot of them know 40% is going to fall off and they don't even care. They just they keep grinding
Mhm.
and do that. And so thank you for being transparent about that. That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. I
that.
mean, you have to be because, I mean, we all work together here. We might be from different teams, but we all want to be successful together and make sure that it works. And I don't want to, say like, do this 100% and make it work. I want to share my experience with that because, um, sometimes it doesn't work, and that's okay. You have to find what works for you. You could make it work. I made it work. I was spending about, up to $1,000 a week in inbound leads, and I was closing almost from 8 to 10K a week, submit with that. There was one week that I only spent 450, and I submitted about 11,000. So it's nice. It's getting a call is a big difference than outbound dialing, and it's nice. But You have to watch out for the persistency and the future dated payments, um, and just having the patience to with these people with the signature part. um, you have to be very, very patient with them, kind of walk them through the phone like if they're just a baby. Like, what are you looking at now? What's on your screen? Do you have a little button or a little app that says messages? Like, you have to be very, very patient with them, or they get frustrated really, really quick to the point where you'll never hear from them again, which is kind of crazy. Just because I had a client that she couldn't log into her bank account, she got locked out, and they were asking for her ID and this information and all this to unlock the account. And she was going through it, but she just got frustrated midway, like, oh, I don't want to do this. This is too much. And then she hung up the phone, never heard from her again. And she was looking to get a policy for her sons. So you have to just be very, very patient with them. And sometimes that part can take longer than the sale itself. But if you have the patience for it, then it's not going to be a big issue. But I would still recommend splitting it with outbound dialing for sure. Just because, like Gary said, you could just keep selling, two or three fall off, then sell four. But it's always recommended just to do a little bit of both, just because you just never know how that can go. And inbounds are really nice, but you also want to be smart with the business for sure.
Did you
So
ever
there's
try
another-
the
yeah.
Ethos abandoned cart leads?
Yes, yeah, I did. I used those actually for a few years. That was my main lead source for a while.
But you stopped it?
Right now, yes, I did, just because I wanted to do inbounds 100%. That I'm going now. I'm doing ethos and just trucker IUL leads. That's 75% of the time, and then I'm taking maybe just a couple calls in the morning, and then just try to get the rest through outbound dialing.
Anybody else have questions for Orlando?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mhm. What's up,
Hey,
brother?
Orlando,
Yeah.
do you find your production more stable when you when you stick with one type of lead source, or do you jump from lead source to lead source? Like, which, because we hear different things, right? We hear different people say different things. Like, don't jump, don't be
Mhm.
jumping from this lead to that lead. Like,
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying different leads. Just don't replace it. If something's working for you already, keep doing that, and that be your main thing. But if you want to try a different lead source, you can do that. Just not go all in. I know that there's some people that make the mistake of, they see the new shiny thing and then they go there 100% and forget what's already working. And then that doesn't work, because you have to start a whole new skill and new learning curve with everything with the new lead source, and that's not working yet. And you let go of what was working. Now you're kind of stuck with nothing is working in the moment. So if you have something that's working, keep doing that. But then on the side, you can start with the new lead source like that, but never replace it 100% if something is working. That's what I would say.
Anybody else?
Yeah, or hey, Orlando.
Hey.
So do you ever use crank wheel, or do you go on Zoom, or see them face to
Mhm.
face, sort of to help them out, or
Um, Personally, no. I don't do the Zoom or the crank wheel with any of my clients. I do everything just over the phone. If I if I have to, I will, or I would use crank wheel to share your screen, and so they can see you, on there, or Zoom. But most of the time, I haven't done it. I haven't used Zoom or crank wheel. Just all over the phone.
okay. Thanks.
Mhm. Mhm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question?
Yeah, Orlando, what would you say your for the inbound leads, what would you say the closing percentage was of the calls you took in?
I got as high as I, there was at one point I was like at 42%. It didn't stay that high for, for long, but I got as high as 42%, and then it averaged out about 33%, 37% close rate. So I was closing up every call that I was paying for, I was closing about 37% of that.
And there were a
So
lot of calls you didn't even take, right? But if you got into the
yeah.
conversation with them, you were closing one in three pretty
Yeah.
much.
So the I'm going off of the calls that I took and paid for. Out of those, I was able to close about 37%.
That's pretty solid because I think most of them are
Hmm.
around 20, 30%. So
Yeah.
nice work.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, the more you do it, the better you get because it's the exact same process with every single client. It's just watching out for the persistency and uh, you know, pushing something out 30 days. It can be a little scary just because people they lose the emotion and then that comes out and they're like, oh, you know what? Never mind. It could happen. Um, I could even try following up before the payment comes out, or just making sure that it's affordable. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's just watching out for that.
that's what I was going to ask you is if you're using a CRM to follow up with them, drip on them before the payment.
I'm not. I'm not. It is something I can look into.
LeadChamp
Yeah,
Pro
Um,
does it,
that might help.
And LeadChamp Pro does it automatically.
Yeah.
So once you put them into the system right after you make the sale, it's dripping on them, including your payments coming up. If you have any questions, and it's really
mhm.
professional. And then you don't have to worry about, doing the whole thing.
No, I've heard some really good stuff about Lead Champ Pro, and what I like is that the people that made that product are FFL agents or
Right.
FFL agency owners. So it's tailored, for us of what we're looking for and the carriers that we work with, and everything is like all set on there for you. That is something that I'm going to look into as well, Gary. Now that you mentioned it, I've heard really good things about Lead Champ Pro, and it's like an all-in-one CRM where you can just put your leads and they can just drip on them for you. And I believe they have AI now, right? AI, they can have conversations without you
They
and make
do. And
appointments. Yeah.
well, that expression goes, the fortune's in the follow-up, right?
Mhm.
And some people that are really good at sales maybe aren't so good at follow-up. Maybe some people
Yeah.
that are really good at follow-up aren't making any sales. And
Mhm.
and the truth of the matter is, looking back at now, I'm openly going to say that I wish I would have had that earlier because I can sell, but when you're balancing selling, training, coaching, trying to run at 100 miles an hour, it's very difficult when you have that many clients to keep up with it. So let the system do it. And I would highly recommend
Mhm.
that to all of you guys to look at it. I mean, you put if let's say your persistency gets 50% better, how much money are you saving?
Mhm.
Okay. I always tell Reggie our goal every day is to think about, is this making me money or saving me money? And you guys should be doing the same things, right? Is this activity you're doing this moment in your life and in your business making money or saving money? So we can get people on the books and have our names on the WhatsApp and the leaderboard and all those things, that doesn't really matter. What matters is it goes in your bank account at the end,
Mhm.
right? And persistency's a huge, huge, huge thing. So, um,
Yeah. I mean, I just a quick example. I had an agent where she was coming into the office Monday through Saturday all day, morning to afternoon or something, just a full days every day, and she just wasn't as successful, and and it just made me realize like it doesn't matter how long you show up for, how many days, how many hours you can sleep at the office, and still not be successful. It's what you do with the time that you're there, or when you're in work mode. That's really what matters, because you can feel like you're working, you can show up somewhere for 12 hours, but are you really making the activity to make that money? Because if you really put in the activity with that many hours and that many days, it's almost impossible for you to fail. It, it really is, because eventually you just run into just, the same thing. You just, 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 you just a lay down, which is just a client just ready to buy, just running into them just by dialing, just by doing the activity. So just really focus on what you're doing, when you're in work mode, when you're in the office or on Zoom. If like Gary said, if what you're doing, are you working? Is it going to make you money? And just always focus on that throughout the day, because you can be somewhere all day, every day, show up, but showing up doesn't get you paid, unfortunately. We're not employees, we're independent contractors, and we only get paid for the work that we put in, that we dial, and the clients that we speak to. So um, you have to shift that mindset from employee just by clocking in and showing up. A lot of us are used to that, going in, clocking in, getting paid no matter if you do the work or not. But it's with here you don't get paid if you don't make any sales. So yeah, activity, money making activities. So IPA, I think is what you were calling it.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll take one or two more questions if anybody has them. Anybody else have any questions for Orlando? He's a wealth of knowledge, guys. Don't waste this opportunity.
I have a question.
You go
Yeah.
ahead.
So when you were talking about building a team and you were saying, spend 2 days doing inbounds and the rest of the time spending time with your team for them to learn. Did you have a specific amount that you were trying to reach during those two hours? Or did you have like a set AP that when you were doing your sales before you said, you know,
Um, not not necessarily a specific goal. The specific goal was two before two, which just means that just get two deals, no matter how much they are, before
okay,
2 p.m. In your day, and then spend the rest of the evening making or helping them make their sales. So side by side selling, after 2 p.m., if I have my agents here, I just kind of sit next to them with their calls or inbounds or something, whatever they're doing, just in case you need to like jump in. There's times that I've been able to help close a deal just because the client wants to hear it from somebody else. Sometimes it's just a double reassurance. So just focus on them with anything that they need after you're done with taking care of yourself. In other words,
okay,
because
thank you.
you still have to make your money no matter what. And if it's not structured in your schedule, you can easily see yourself not making your own sales because you're too focused on somebody else, which is still an income producing activity, but um, that's for the long run. You're investing in the future, in your agents so they can be okay. But if you focus on getting two deals or three, whatever you can before 2 p.m., so two before two, that can make sure that you're getting paid, and then that makes sure that your agents are getting helped.
Let's go ahead and have a great week. And thank you, Orlando, for everything, guys. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you guys here in the dial rooms. Bye-bye.
Thank you.